Welcome back from the break. You're still watching Life Stories with me, your host, Justine. Thank you so much for being a part of the show still. Send us an SMS on 6565 and ask anything you want to know about HIV AIDS. The questions about this topic are endless. Take time and listen as we go on with this show, because HIV AIDS is unselective. It could come to anybody at any time. Next on the show, we are going to have Dr. Sabrina Chitaka from Malago Hospital, who's going to be taking us through different things that the doctors would want us to know about HIV AIDS. Hello, Doctor.
Hi, Justine.
Doctor, how possible is it that somebody doesn't get HIV? That they keep marrying people and the people die of HIV, and for them they're not infected. Is that possible?
Yeah, it is. Actually, such people have been described, and it all goes back to their genetic makeup. There are people who lack the co-receptor where the HIV attaches, and we call those people, they lack a particular co-receptor. They have a deletion of a particular gene, so the HIV virus cannot attach to their CD4 cells and therefore cause infection. However, these people are extremely rare, and you cannot know who these people are. Studies have been done among the prostitutes in Mombasa, and also in Rakai they followed up a cohort of people to determine and see exactly what happens to these discordant couples. But certainly there are people who cannot get infected with HIV.
But they can carry it on?
No,
they can give it to other people?
They cannot. You know, in order for somebody to be infectious, they have to have what we call a viral set point. The virus has to mature in their blood, because the HIV virus is a retrovirus. It has to grow in the human genome in order to proliferate, in order to grow.
So in order for them to pass it on, literally, in the layman's language, they have to have an active virus.
Exactly. They have to have a surmountable amount of virus, which they can then pass on.
So, Doctor, tell us about the discordant couples. Is it possible that maybe one of them belongs to the sect of people you just described? Couples whereby the man or one of them is infected and the other is not, yet they are sexually active and, you know, it's not protected.
So, in passing on HIV from one person to another, the environment has to be good for the virus to be passed on. For example, if a couple is having unprotected sex and there's broken skin, then they can pass on the virus. If a couple is having unprotected sex and this person who has HIV is on antiretroviral drugs and their viral load is extremely low, then very likely they may not pass it on to this other person. Do you get the point?
I get the point.
If, however, the couple are both not on antiretroviral therapy, one is positive, one is negative, then this person has a really high viral load, is having sexual intercourse with a younger woman, let's imagine, and this younger woman has a bigger chance of catching HIV because she has a wider surface area to which the HIV can attach, then they are more likely to get infected. If this person is having sexual intercourse with an older woman who is not having a sexually transmitted infection, then they may not pass on HIV. So in other words, I'm saying the science behind HIV is complex, and we continue to understudy it and do research to better understand it. But what we know for sure is that there are people who have a higher risk of getting HIV, there are those who have a lower risk of catching HIV, and there are those people who will not get HIV infected, whatever happens.
Is it clear-cut that the medics can prevent mother-to-child transmission, or there are other factors that are not constant?
Certainly, yes. Mother-to-child transmission can actually be eliminated. We are now in this generation, in this year, 2013, we are talking about elimination of pediatric HIV and AIDS. There's evidence to show that indeed HIV can be eliminated. 10 years ago in the US, children were still being infected from their mothers to their babies. But today, if you look for a child who has HIV in America, born to a mother who has HIV, you'll be like looking for a needle in a haystack. Not far away from us in Botswana, they have proved that elimination of mother to child is a possibility. And it all goes back to our health systems. Can a mother come and be tested? Can she be confirmed to be HIV positive in the first trimester of her pregnancy? And you know how our mothers in Uganda do not even come for antenatal care until they are in labor. So that can also be a problem. If mom is put on antiretroviral therapy the moment she is pregnant, and then she continues on those antiretroviral therapy throughout the course of her reproductive life, which we call option B+, then certainly we are going to see reduction in transmission of mother to child. But I told you before that mothers can transmit HIV through breast milk. So what does that mean? It means that as mothers are breastfeeding their babies, if these mothers are HIV positive, they must be on antiretroviral therapy. So indeed, we can stop transmission from mother to child if our health systems are working properly, if the antiretroviral drugs are available, and if the mothers cooperate.
How many times must one test to confirm whatever results that they are, either positive or negative?
Okay, very good. So an adult, let's say a regular adult who is having unprotected sex, they should have to be tested a minimum of 3 times, 1 month apart, to prove that they are truly negative. For babies, and this is a different ball game, we have to test them at least 2 times to prove that they are truly negative or confirm that they are HIV positive.
Yes, please.
Yeah.
And then what if a regular adult tests positive, then they are positive?
If a regular adult tests positive, then the chances are that they are truly positive. It's very rare to have a false positive test.
What should people know about HIV AIDS, because it's there and it's sad that it's increasing. Actually, before we conclude, why is there a rise? Because at some point the curve was going down.
Correct. About 30 years ago, Uganda was praised for having been the country that was glorified for reducing the HIV prevalence rates from 30% in the mid-80s to around 6.4% in the later 90s and the 2000s. Sadly, today, Uganda is being lambasted by the whole world for having a rise in the HIV prevalence and even the HIV incidence. And this is what I think as a researcher, as a scientist, that there's been a lot of complacency as people have neglected being more careful, as people have gotten to forget about that picture of the 80s. Today people are on antiretroviral therapy, and not everyone who is HIV positive really looks HIV positive. Do you see what I'm saying? So people have become more complacent. HIV is now taken as a chronic disease. I mean, anyone can catch HIV, but the thing is there's no cure for HIV. If people change their behavior, and there are a lot of interventions that are currently ongoing, the safe male medical circumcision, using condoms, encouraging people who are HIV to take their drugs and adhere to them and not transmit the virus, then we'll have a better output. But we are seeing a lot of risk-taking behavior. There's a lot of prostitution. There's a lot of immorality, and a lot of pornography being liberally shown to young children, to young people, which is unacceptable. And all these vices are contributing to the increase in our incidence rates. But I know that if we stand as a country, if we, the doctors, the researchers, and you, the advocates, the media, speak the same language, reduce on pornography, reduce on, I'm not turning into the ethics minister here, but I really think that we as a country need to take responsibility and recover from the bad name that we have gained.
We just heard from Dr. Sabrina Chitaka here at Malago Hospital. She was telling us about HIV AIDS. One of my favorite books, that is Proverbs in the Bible, says, do not reject insight and understanding. When it comes to HIV, keep receiving the knowledge and receive it positively. The little girl we had today on the show, Lydia Kemigisha, is a bright young girl at school. She has talent in dancing, singing, and even English. How do we ensure HIV AIDS does not become a death sentence for this little girl and many other people that we know that have HIV AIDS, and even those that we don't know? It all starts with encouraging them, and then those that are negative, please try to ensure that the country does not get another HIV positive person. That is you. That was it on Life Stories today. Thank you so much for being a part of the show. All the medical personnel that are trying, all the NGOs that are helping people with HIV AIDS, individuals that are taking care of your relatives that are positive. God will bless you and bless your children. Send us an SMS on 6565 and give us your view about this show. Also, go to our Facebook and Twitter pages, that is NTV Life Stories. Remember, you can catch all the shows we've aired on this show on our YouTube page, that is still NTV Life Stories. My name is Justin. I'll see you next time.